Welcome to another edition of my City Speaks to Me, focusing on mayoral candidates. That is to say, candidates running to be the mayor of the city of Calgary come October 18, as Calgarians will be going to the polls. And it's an honor for me to have another candidate in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Teddy Ogbonna. How are you, Teddy?
Not too bad. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you very much for taking time to be here. I know election is coming, you're busy, you have schedules, and I appreciate coming on this show. Now, the focus of our show is to create a landmark awareness for Calgarians to get involved. That's the first thing. To get involved, to be part of this process, and then to wisely choose their leader. And it's an honor for me to have you here on our show. And then I'm going to go straight to the question because you're a busy man. Now, the first question I've been privileged to ask others is this same question I'm going to ask you: that why should citizens of Calgary get involved in this election process?
Thank you very much. A great question. I do believe that citizens should get involved in the election process because it is our civic right to participate in an election, to make the change that we need, we want in our communities and as Calgary as a whole. So it is important that if we want to see a change at the city of Calgary, which from what I'm listening and hearing from knocking on the doors, overall take is that Calgarians, they need a change. They want to see a change at the city of Calgary, the way we do business. They don't want to be seeing business as usual. Okay. So that's the most important thing. And if we don't get out what is called GOTV, if we don't get out to vote to decide who becomes the next mayor of this great city, that change is not going to be felt. So I do urge and encourage Calgarians to get out and vote. And the good thing about the Western democracy, in my own opinion, is that we need money to run an election, but it's not just about the money, it's about volunteering and getting out to vote. Because over here, my experience, haven't had been around elections and worked for politicians from Ontario to when I moved out here in 2008. You could have $1 million in your bank account, in campaign account. Someone who has less than $200-300 will win an election because he's mobilizing, he's talking to grassroots, he's talking to communities. People are listening to him, he's listening to people, and he's making his case heard. So it's not about how much you have in your bank account. It's not about the mainstream media, how much you can get out there. It's about mobilizing people, getting people out to really go out to vote and vote their conscience. And you can't bribe anyone here to vote for you. It does not matter how much you have in your bank account. We have seen it here. It's evident in this city. Even within the province, we have seen it. It's becoming very progressive-minded in terms of people are becoming more independent from the historic blue tent voting that we used to have in this great city. I'm proud to be part of the blue tent. I don't hide it from my profile, but the reality is that immigrant vote counts. Grassroots votes counts. Families vote counts. You have to get out there and talk to them to get out and participate, and they will make their decisions at the ballot box.
Thank you very much. That's an amazing question. Now, I'm a creative person. I'm from the creative industry, and what I'm doing is part of creativity adding value. So one thing that is very dear to my heart is art and culture. Right. Now, we're just getting out of the pandemic, and I'm not sure whether we're even out yet completely. But looking back 6 months ago, when everything was totally locked down, it is art and culture, creative individuals that has been helping Calgarians or Canadians to maintain their sanity. So the question is, what is a vision about art and cultural landscape of our city of Calgary?
Thank you, Larry. It's a very great one. I'm pretty sure you have gone through my bio. Originally, I started my career, though I worked in the oil and gas industry, but I used to have a big gallery in Lagos Island back home. My country of origin is Nigeria. Okay. I used to have a gallery. I did a lot of workshops, and so I'm pretty much a very creative person. I think out of the box. I've always believed in ideas, that ideas can change the world. In terms of arts and culture, which is part of the development, it's part of the development of what we call the municipal development plan. It's part of it. So it's not just the structural aspect of it, in terms of redevelopment and redevelopment, but arts and culture, in my opinion, is part of the whole municipal development plan, and it's part of the whole Calgary resilience strategy. if we don't have those components, especially arts and culture, we're going to be losing a lot of young folks, I'll tell you that. And we had last year 5.5% of young people, they left this city moving out to different countries for the first time, moving out to different provinces after graduation. They don't consider our city that we have called home and love, they don't consider it being more creative and more vibrant. There are so many reasons why they left. I was going through so many reasons and watching through some clips that some mainstream media had interviewed some of the folks that have left, why they left this city. So arts and culture is very important to me. It's part of my supporting arts and culture is part of my platform. And one of the ways I'm going to be doing that is to make sure that if you look at my platform, I'm the only candidate that have put in a shadow youth cabinet at the city hall. From a policy perspective, I want a lot of folks to have a voice, from students to young entrepreneurs and to people that have graduated, to come there and propose and critique any bylaw before council votes on it. So that gives them the platform to begin to come up with initiatives, how they want to see this city going forward, because they are the future and the foundation of this great city. So that's one aspect where I have done, I researched and I said, okay, how do we help a lot of young folks to have a voice in politics, to begin to push their agenda forward, if it's in terms of gender issues, advocate for development, advocate for arts and culture, and that is the platform where policy, from a policy perspective, where they would have that platform to voice their concerns, push up their agenda forward. So arts and culture, I can't, couldn't agree with you more. It's very important to me. We need to make it more vibrant. But most importantly, I would want to see a vibrant, creative arts and culture that is managed and executed and performed by local, in terms of grants that we get by local artists. I don't want to see what has happened in the past 10 years where, for instance, I'll give you an instance, the Blue Ring or the installation that is just by the Olympic Way over there, the Belfort, seeing foreign artists coming here to execute, taking grants close to $1 million to execute projects in arts and culture. Those things are installations. I'm an artist. They are abstract. It's not everyone that will understand abstract. It does not make meaning or reflect the values or symbols we share here in this city. I did a lot of asking questions about those things. Some people don't even know what it means. So, but the most important, people are taxpayers are mad because the grant was given to a foreign artist who did execute these projects. We can mobilize the arts community, the creative community here in Calgary, even students in the state or universities. They can come up with a better concept and execute things within the arts and culture that fits what our values and our symbols within this province, within this great city of Calgary.
Amazing. Now, we know the city is facing a challenging time, even before the pandemic. So I want to know your own opinion, the current situation and the future. Now, the question is, identify 3 major issues. I know there are several, but 3 major issues that the city is facing right now, and how do you intend to solve them if elected?
First of all, the vision of my campaign is very clear. I have a clear vision. I'm one of the candidates. I filed my nomination on March 17, and it's coming along. And that's the most important thing. So the vision and the purpose started to file my nomination. I declared my intent online October 18 last year, filed my intent March 17. First thing I did was to identify the vision, the clear vision I have, and it is to reduce taxes for small businesses and homeowners in this great city. They have gone through a whole lot in terms of tax hikes. Some businesses like yours are paying 10, 15, 20, 25% depending on where you live, where the location of your business and what you're doing, and other variables that affect those tax hikes. Some businesses are paying 40%, 45%, some paying 20%. So I've met a lot of homeowners and business owners who are not happy, paying double digits, triple digits in their taxes, both home and as well in businesses. So what I did is to have my vision to reduce taxes and provide tax incentives for homeowners and businesses. I'm the only candidate that is specific on my vision for Calgary. That is one big thing. Taxes, I do believe, based on the research and listening to Calgarians, if we stabilize the taxes and make it more consistent for the next years, four good years I will be in office. So that's what I have specific. I'm the only candidate that is doing that, to cap it 10% across board businesses and homeowners 10% for the next 4 years. It has never been done in the city of in this great city. They have not had a fixed 10% cap or fixed tax rate for 4 years. So I'm bringing something unique, something different in this election at the ballot. So, and businesses are receiving that. They have their concerns, what's going to happen to this, and I'm very open-minded. I'm very consistent in my messages that this is what I'm going to do in terms of cutting excesses and spending at the city of Calgary. That will bring a whole lot of millions of dollars. We're going to put it into this way. So I'm very specific on that. That is one area that I'm pushing forward. The second one on my platform that is huge is bringing a lot of young folks into government to participate in the decision-making process. I don't want to see a lot of young people moving away from this city. As I just told you in our municipal census data that we just had last year, 18 to 25% of 25 in age left this city, 5.5% of them. So within that age bracket. That's jaw dropping. We are losing architects, we are losing future engineers, we are losing creative folks. They are the foundation and future of this city. I'm 51 years old this year. I don't want to be making decisions that affect some people like my daughter, they are teenagers, and my son. I don't want to be making decisions that affect young folks in this city without them being part of it. So we're going to have a way to get them into having an interest in letting them know that this city belongs to young folks. This city belongs to young entrepreneurs. They have got the best ideas to move this city forward. How old was Mike Zuckerberg when he changed the world you and I are using today? Bill Gates, how old were they? So let's don't write them off. These folks can bring in the best ideas to move this city forward. That is second on my agenda. And the third one is about development and redevelopments in terms of infrastructures. We are having potholes all over the city that in some neighborhoods, you got potholes that are about 5-10 years old. The city have not fixed it. Some, and inner city slow clearing. Some rich neighborhoods, because they can afford it, they pay a private contractor to clear their snow. This shouldn't be. They are all paying taxes like other people everywhere. So I want to have, my campaign is about inclusion and equity. What is going on in the rich neighborhood should go on in some other neighborhood that is not well privileged. Let me put it that way. So we want to see equity, we want to see transparency and accountability. These are the things I'm pushing on in this election.
Thank you very much. Now you mentioned the word inclusion, and that leads me to the next question, that how will you make Calgary to be a more inclusive society?
The most important thing is to begin, and that's what I'm doing in my campaign, so that people wouldn't be surprised that I started this off talking to a lot of community leaders of different race, white, black, brown, with all the apologies even to the First Nations. I want to see them participate actively at this. The City Hall is our town hall, let me put it that way. The City Hall is our town hall. It's not for elites, it's for the people of Calgary. All of us need to, if you have something to do, if you don't want to talk to your alderman or councillor, there are other options for you to engage the mayor, to talk to the mayor. The mayor should take responsibility, accountability of what happens at the city of Calgary. That's what leadership is all about. And that's what I have seen lacking for some time. You know, I've come from a very corporate sector where there's no blame culture. You accept the responsibility, you deal with it, you find solutions, more solution-based. So my campaign is a very, I would put it that way, we are running a very inclusive campaign, talking to different groups. And my message to every group, every gender, every race is the same thing. What I tell the black community is what I tell the white community. What I tell the white community is what I tell the brown community, is what I tell the Asians. That's what, so my message is that cross-border, consistent, so that you don't think I'm not pandering. And as much as I need people's vote, but I want them to see me as being honest and genuine and transparent in the way I deal with with every group. And even in the disability world, you know, people who are impaired in terms of access and other senior citizens, ex-veterans. I have talked to people and they're happy. They have gone, some of them have gone back, double checked that my message is the same. So I believe Calgarians need someone who is honest in this case. We have got lived experience. On that list, I looked at the whole list and I will tell you this. I have more experience in life than all of them running for, and even the current city councillors running for mayor. I have more experience in life. I have more experience being on the world stage, talking to world leaders, organizing side events after G8 meetings and in Manhattan at the UN General Assembly. I have lived experience networking behind the scenes from local, provincial and federal levels in terms of government, how government works. I have it.
Amazing. Now, the question I ask on the minds of everybody is, what are your thoughts about the future of downtown Calgary?
I'll tell you what, and that's the same message I've been saying. This city is classic. It reminds me of Denver, Colorado in the US. I always say that. It reminds me of certain areas like Austin in Texas. This city is a classic city. We are a world-class city. I'm not a fan of the revitalization of what you see is going on is all politics. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of, what I'm interested is to make sure that the way we've been doing business is not sustainable, period. The municipal development plan we have in terms of development and redevelopment in the city of Calgary and our greenfields, I think we need to reevaluate that. I'm not a fan of allowing portions of our greenfields being sold out to developers, foreign developers, because they have got the billion-dollar money to invest and build up whatever they want to build. We are losing our heritage. We are losing our environment. I do believe we need to keep our greenfield, for instance, intact, protect them. Our heritage building, we need to protect them, and they can even generate revenues. In some areas which people who have left their heritage structures generating revenues in terms of tourism and all that. So why should we be selling that off to developers? And this is not, I'm talking about foreign developers. Local developers here would have a say. We have building associations, different co-op, different groups. I'm having meetings with them. My goal is that we've got to find a balance to make sure we are not selling off our values and our heritage, what makes this Calgary classic. Yeah. We've got to find a balance to make sure. If businesses, I have owned a business here before, I've had employees. If businesses want to redevelop and change their buildings or their structures, for goodness sake, of course, the city will look into it and approve, do the assessment before giving their permit. For goodness sake, let them do so. I do not interfere in businesses. If they want to put up a world-class building, or whatever in the city of Calgary, let them do that. But that's not going to be on taxpayers' money. It's not going to be on taxpayers' time. The roads where we have responsibilities is making sure that people have access to go to their buildings, to their home. That's where we face priorities to make sure we have good roads. This city is the backbone of Canadian economy. Calgary have supported the entire country. Calgary needs to be, you come in here, you would think you're in some places in California. We should make our roads very, very, quality-wise, strong, stable. The structures, you look into it, this place is been an energy country. I mean, they have supported science and technology. Unfortunately, the message does not come out. The oil and gas sector in this industry, in this city, have supported science and renewable energies, supporting, giving grants to students and institutions like SAIT and University of Calgary, Montreal, to develop things that's technologically driven. Why are we not talking about it? So I'm not writing them off. They built this city. But my take on them and conversation I'm having with some of the CEOs in the oil and gas industry is that we need to begin to open up new frontiers, begin to see that the 21st century is looking into green, renewable energy projects, using some of the grants, supporting arts and culture, supporting in other developments and all that. But we need to begin to transition it, like opening up open up the market, in this city, not just focusing on just the oil and gas sector. We need to diversify. So, and that's my take. So I tell you, the city of Calgary is classic. It is what it is. It's a beautiful world-class city. We just need to improve on areas we need to improve. We need to change things that the Calgarians think we need to change. But in terms of revitalization and this and that, I'm not a fan of that. We leave that to business owners that have structures in downtown core. Let them do what they have to do, and that's not going to be on taxpayers' time.
Now on to the next questions. This concerns the youth. You mentioned about the youth being the future of the city. So what is your plan to keep our youth productively engaged in the city and raise the opportunities available for them in securing jobs, affordable housing, entertainment, and all?
Thank you very much, Larry, for that question. It's a very bit emotional and it's passionate for me because for over 25 years, my engagement with the global community, consulting with multinational organizations and countries has always been from a focus has been on youth policies and then, of course, access to justice and transparency, accountability, and good governance issues. But first time I came to this country, I came 2004, I came to speak at the University of Toronto on a Wide Youth Center pilot project. I was one of the curriculum consultants that was invited, and then because we had built up curriculum prior to that event, and of course they sponsored us to come to speak and herald the opening. So it was anything youth is my thing. And I tell you, best practice based on experience. If you want to get things done, you talk to a lot of young folks, you just listen to them. The age they are, they don't need to be told what to do. But we just give them, these are the guidelines, this is what we are looking at, what do you guys think? They'll come up with the best. That's one of the reasons why I'm setting up, I'm the only candidate on my platform that have a shadow youth cabinet at the City Hall. It's never been done in this city before. So I want to have a shadow youth cabinet at the City Hall. Reason being that I want them to be part of the decision-making process. I want them to be engaged in pushing for, as I said in this show, their agendas, whatever the agenda is that they feel passionately concerned about the city. That is the platform where they can speak their voice up, push the agenda, critique anything at all before council parties pass on, make a vote on those things. So basically, they're going to be part of the local actors. So we have so many local actors that influence council decisions at the municipal level. This is where democracy starts. Our town hall, I put it that way. This is where democracy starts. All our members of parliament, members of legislature, they all start from our little wards and little constituencies here. So to get their nominations, begin to run for their own thing. So our city is that the city hall is where we shape democracy, we speak our mind, have respectful conversations of what we want to see and what we want and what we need. And just like Jack Clinton, whom I was privileged to meet when he was alive, had said that hope is better than fear. And love is better than anger. So we're going to get some of these young people who, in one way or the other, are moving away from this city. We want to keep them, stabilize them here. That's why I have that on my platform, the Shadow Youth Cabinet. The best thing is for them to join Teddy's campaign. The best thing is for them to engage Teddy's campaign. I want to listen to them. I keep listening to them. I want to engage them. I want them to participate in this city because they are the foundation and the future of this great city. So whatever they have an idea, I'm not going to tell them what to do. I've said this. To get the best solution is to listen to them, engage them. And what I have done is to set up that platform for them, the guidelines for them to come in and utilize that and speak their mind and push their agenda forward.
Oh, thank you so much for that question. You've given us a lot to think about and then to ruminate and then take some time to digest. Now let's take things on a lighter mode. Okay. How does Teddy relax? What do you do for fun? How do you unwind? Because we like giving us all those messages. How do you relax?
Thank you so much. My wife is from the Philippines and they live in the mountains. So she do a lot of hiking, even when it's snowing, even when I'm not. Honestly, I don't like hiking when it's snowing, but she loves it. So there's a usual say in families that happy home is happy wife. So I will grudgingly sometimes just follow her to go hiking when it's snowing in the mountains. So apart from that, I do a lot of biking. I play lawn tennis and golf with few friends. And I get out, most important thing that gives me joy when I tend to really relax is getting out in the communities. I coach basketball and soccer in what is called high-risk neighborhoods. I don't want to mention names because for me it doesn't make any sense being tagged as high-risk neighborhoods. We have got crime all over the city, but unfortunately in some areas it's more, in some areas it's not. So I do coach, I used to coach basketball, soccer. I used to coach do arts and crafts as a city employee back in the days with the recreational facilities Village Square. So I did that for about 2.5 years. And then I stopped it. I resigned and started using my organization here with a couple of young kids to do train the trainer kind of thing, to train them and for them to see how. It's not just about having fun, it's a leadership process. Sports can teach you a whole lot of leadership things, basketball, soccer, and arts and crafts. There's leadership process in building their capacities when you do those things. And so it's so much fun and gratifying to do those things with some of those young kids. Some of them now playing high school basketball in the US, and I'm glad, so that gives me a lot of pleasure and I give God the glory.
That's wonderful. Now let's give our voters a vision for the future. At the end of your term in office, if elected, what do you hope to have accomplished?
Great question, Larry. To be frank, I hope to accomplish local participation in civic elections. I want to see more of young folks, some more of senior citizens who are telling me they feel not being engaged, they feel left out in this city. I want to see a lot of immigrants participate in politics. You know, it's a political seat. It's good for us, and then so I want to have an inclusive city where, even from the faith-based community, LGBTQ2 community, everyone would see that, look, we all have a voice, we are groups. So it's respectful conversations in council, bringing them once in a while, even if it's once in 3 months, all these groups, the church leaders, the Hindu, Sikh, the Muslim, the rabbis from the synagogue, all of them come in, because some of these spiritual leaders, for instance, know so much going on in all the communities than we do, than even the front line like the police do. So we need to talk to them, hear from them one-on-one. I want to engage people. So at the end of my administration, I want to see a very engaged Calgary, the greater Calgary area. Everyone is engaged in our civic politics because the city belongs to each and every one of us. That's what I would want to see happen. And Bronkare, Dave, who used to be the mayor of this great city, had championed that initiative when he got elected, I think 2001. He had championed that initiative and pushed forward, led discussions that resonated within the whole Calgary as a whole, in terms of municipal government. I want to see that come back, in this great city.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me on today's episode of My City Speaks to Me, talking to Teddy Ogbonna, one of the mayoral candidates for Calgary mayor election coming October 18. If you want to know more about Teddy Ogbonna, check the website appearing on the screen below and you can connect with him. And until I come your way again with another candidate on this series, this is bye for now on My City Speaks to Me.
Thank you.